Today, we're diving into the Lego sets that make your wallet scream by charging you the most money per piece. From vintage disasters to modern cash grabs that'll make you question if Lego lost their minds. The Lego Duplo collection. Let me start with something that'll blow your mind, because most people don't even think about this. Lego Duplo holds the crown for the worst price per piece of any Lego theme ever at 84 cents per piece. Now before you say, but Duplo blocks are bigger. Yeah, they are, but we're talking about 8 times more expensive than regular Lego system bricks. The average Lego set sits around 11 to 13 cents per piece, so Duplo is charging you nearly a 700% markup just because the blocks are chunkier. Parents everywhere are getting absolutely demolished by these prices, thinking they're getting their toddler a good deal, but you're paying premium prices for what's essentially the same plastic, just scaled up. Every time you buy a Duplo set, you're paying luxury car prices for plastic blocks that your kid will chuck across the room anyway. Lego justifies this by saying the larger pieces require more material and have stricter safety standards for young children. But when you break down the actual cost of materials versus what they're charging, it's clear Duplo exists in its own price universe, where normal economics don't apply. The 1980 space monorail transport system. Here's a piece of Lego history that'll make you thankful you weren't collecting back in the day. The 1987 space monorail transport system came with 731 pieces and cost $155, which seems reasonable until you adjust for inflation. That's $416. In today's money, for a price per piece of 57 cents. 57 cents per piece. This set had motorized parts and a whole monorail track system, which explains part of the cost, but you're still paying more than 5 times what a modern Lego piece costs. The set was part of the classic space theme, and while it looked absolutely incredible with its futuristic design and working monorail, you were basically paying supercar money for what amounts to a toy train. Collectors today will defend it, saying the motors and special pieces justified the cost. But let's be real, Lego was charging whatever they could get away with in the 80s because they didn't have serious competition yet. The kicker is that even with all those special electronic components, modern Lego sets with similar features cost way less per piece even when you factor in inflation. The 1984 King's Castle. The 1984 King's Castle is another vintage set that cost $52.75 for 664 pieces, which adjusts to $155 today. That's a price per piece of 23 cents, which is double what you'd pay for a comparable castle set today. This was the premium castle set of its era, with opening walls, a working drawbridge with pulleys, and it was every kid's dream build. But Lego was charging premium prices because they could, and because parents would shell out for that nostalgia factor. Modern castle sets give you 4 times the pieces for similar money and way more detail. The thing that makes this sting even more is that modern sets like the 2024 Hogwarts Castle give you 2,860 pieces for $170, which is only 6 cents per piece, making the old King's Castle look like a total rip-off by comparison. Lego has actually gotten way better at value over the decades, despite what people think, and sets like this prove it. The 1989 Black Seas Barracuda Pirates fans, buckle up, because your beloved Black Seas Barracuda from 1989 cost $110 for 909 pieces. Adjusted for inflation, that's $270 today, or 30 cents per piece. This was one of the most iconic pirate ships Lego ever made, with detailed rigging, multiple decks, and a crew of minifigures that made every kid want to be a pirate. The problem is you were paying luxury prices for what was essentially a standard Lego build with no motors or electronics to justify the cost. Lego knew this set would be insanely popular and priced it accordingly, charging nearly triple what a modern pirate ship costs per piece. Collectors today pay thousands for sealed versions because of nostalgia, but if you actually break down the value proposition, you got way less plastic for your money compared to modern sets. The ship looks amazing on display, but your parents basically bought you a small car payment's worth of plastic bricks. the 2025 Death Star Ultimate Collector Series. Now let's talk about modern sets and the Death Star that broke the internet. LEGO's Death Star Ultimate Collector Series became their first set to hit the $1,000 price point, with 9,023 pieces and 38 minifigures. Now mathematically, that's about 11 cents per piece, which is actually decent. But here's why this set belongs on this list. You're paying $1,000 for literally half a Death Star. It's not even a complete sphere, it's a slice, a wedge, a section. Reddit absolutely destroyed this set with comments like, "You'll have to buy 2 to make a complete sphere, and $1,000 for a slice is absurd." The issue isn't the price per piece, it's the value proposition, where you're paying MacBook money for an incomplete model that feels like LEGO is testing how much they can charge before people revolt. Reviews called it almost impractically large with an equally prohibitive price point, and fans are mad because it feels like LEGO is taking advantage of Star Wars fans who'll buy anything with the logo on it. This is LEGO seeing how far they can push prices before brand loyalty snaps. Spider-Verse Miles Morales versus the Spot set, 76311, the 2025 Marvel set featuring Miles Morales, and the Spot costs $50 for only 375 pieces, making it 13 cents per piece. Which sounds okay until you realise what you're actually getting. This set includes a convenience store with no roof and 2 minifigures. $50 for a roofless building and 2 figures. Critics pointed out this could have easily been $35 or even $30 if it launched with the movie in 2023, but LEGO waited and jacked up the price, knowing people would pay for the exclusive minifigures. The set feels incomplete, looks cheap, and represents everything wrong with modern LEGO pricing, where they charge premium prices because they can. One reviewer called it calamitously overpriced, and that's being generous. You're essentially paying $50 for the privilege of owning specific characters, not for actual building value or play features, which is textbook gouging your customer base. Hogwarts Castle Dueling Club. Set 796441. Here's a Harry Potter set that costs $25 for 158 pieces, which is 16 cents per piece. What do you get for $25? Basically, a Lego table. This set is designed to replace dining tables in the Great Hall set, meaning it's an expansion that costs as much as some full sets while giving you barely any pieces. You get Gilderoy Lockhart as a minifigure, which is cool, but otherwise it's a few tables and some tiny accessories. $25 for tables. This is LEGO at its most brazen, selling you furniture pieces and calling it a set. The piece count is embarrassingly low for the price, and fans roasted it online for being overpriced filler content designed to milk the Harry Potter license for every penny. If you're building Hogwarts, you're better off mosing your own tables, because paying $25 for this is just sad. Batman Tumbler vs. Two-Face and the Joker set 76303, the 2025 Tumbler set costs $60 for 429 pieces, which is 14 cents per piece, and here's the kicker. The last tumbler at this scale from 2021 cost $35 for 422 pieces. LEGO added 7 pieces, 1 minifigure, and $20 to the price tag. $20? More? 4? 7? Pieces? This is LEGO seeing that the previous tumbler sold like crazy and deciding to cash in on the Dark Knight nostalgia by jacking up the price by more than 50%. You're paying $60 for a set that should cost $35 at most, and LEGO knows fans will buy it anyway, because it's Batman and it's the tumbler. This represents everything wrong with LEGO's pricing strategy, where they test the market to see how much they can increase prices without killing sales, and apparently $20 extra is the sweet spot for Batman fans. Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor set 75401. This 2025 Star Wars set costs $45 for only 290 pieces, making it 15 cents per piece. Even LEGO defenders who usually argue inflation can justify price increases had to admit this set is overpriced. You get a small starfighter and a minifigure for $45, which is ridiculous when you compare it to other Starfighter sets that give you way more pieces for similar money. This is LEGO charging a premium because it's Ahsoka, who's a popular character, and they know fans will pay extra just to get that exclusive figure. The build itself is basic, nothing special about the design, and it feels like LEGO phoned it in knowing the character would sell the set regardless of value. Critics pointed out that comparable Starfighters from just a few years ago cost $30 for more pieces, proving this is pure price inflation with nothing to justify it. X-Men X-Jet Set 76281. Now this is where LEGO really lost the plot. The X-Men X-Jet from the 2024 wave costs $75 for only 359 pieces. That's 21 cents per piece, nearly double what most LEGO sets charge. You're paying $75 for barely 350 pieces because LEGO knows X-Men fans will buy it for the Rogue minifigure. This set represents the worst of LEGO's strategy, where they price based on demand rather than actual value, charging whatever they think they can get away with. One analysis found this set is grossly overpriced, and way overpriced for what it is, with the pricing being driven by the X-Men 97 hype and rare minifigures rather than the actual build quality or piece count. This is LEGO seeing an opportunity to extract maximum profit from fans and taking it without shame. The fact that they can charge 21 cents per piece and still sell out proves people will pay anything for exclusive characters. Market Street Set 10190. Let's talk about a discontinued set that's become a cautionary tale about LEGO's Creator Expert series. Market Street from 2007 originally cost $150 and now resells for over $2,700. While the resale price is driven by collectors and scarcity, the original value was questionable too. This modular building is smaller than other buildings in the series at only 13 inches tall, and when displayed with other modular buildings, the cityscape doesn't even look like it needs Market Street to be complete. The features like removable balconies, spiral staircases and awnings are repetitive compared to other sets in the series like Pet Shop or Cafe Corner. You're paying premium prices for a set that doesn't add much to the overall modular building collection, and while the resale value is high now, that's just collectors being collectors, not the set actually being worth that money. The original $150 price point was steep for what you got, and the fact that it's the least essential modular building makes it a bad investment at any price. Millennium Falcon Set 10179. Here's a set that makes absolutely no sense to buy. The 2007 Millennium Falcon 10179 cost $500 when it came out, and now resells for $3,500. It has 5 to 197 pieces, and was discontinued in 2009 after only 2 years in production. Here's the problem. The newer Millennium Falcon 75192 from 2017 has 7,541 pieces, way more detail, better minifigures, and costs less than the resale price of the old one. The old version has a LEGO rating that's low, lacks the detail of the modern version, and only comes with 5 old minifigures versus the 10 plus characters in the new version, including BB-8 and Porgs. Buying the old one at $3,500 when you can get a better, bigger, more detailed version for less money is absolutely insane. The only reason to buy this is pure collector speculation or nostalgia, but from a value perspective, it's one of the worst LEGO investments you could make. The price per piece isn't even the issue, it's that you're paying more for less when a better version exists. Classic R2-D2 Set 10225, the 2012 R2-D2 set, costs over $500 on the secondary market for a set that's been superseded by the newer 75308 R2-D2 from 2021. The old version has restricted rolling movements, a release mechanism for the third leg that doesn't work great, and lacks the light brick feature that the new version has. You're paying $500 for an inferior version of a set that's currently available for way less money with better features. This is another case where LEGO collectors drive up prices for older versions even when newer superior versions exist, making the old set a terrible value proposition. The build is basic compared to modern standards, The playability is limited, and it's essentially a display piece that costs as much as a game console. Unless you're a completist who needs every version of R2-D2, buying the old set makes 0 sense. Imperial Star Destroyer Set 130. This 2002 Star Wars set costs over $2,499 on the resale market for 304 pieces, which is 81 cents per piece, putting it in Duplo territory for price gouging. The set was originally much cheaper but has become a collector's item with insane resale prices. The problem is that once assembled, this thing is basically a display piece that's 37 inches long and 23 inches wide. You can't play with it. The turbo lasers and tractor beam projectors aren't actually functional, and it's so massive that displaying it is a pain. Reviews pointed out that wings aren't steady, and some builders needed glue to keep pieces together, which is basically admitting LEGO failed at their core promise of pieces fitting together perfectly. You're paying $2,500 for a fragile display piece that needs glue. That's not a LEGO set, that's a model kit with a LEGO logo slapped on it. The resale price is driven purely by Star Wars collectors and scarcity, not actual value. Star Wars Yoda, Set 705255, the 2019 Yoda buildable figure, costs $100 for 1,771 pieces, which is actually 6 cents per piece, making it good value mathematically. But here's why it belongs on this list. The set is difficult to assemble. The figure stands only 16 inches tall for $100. There's hardly any symmetry, except for the ears and eyes. The figure is hollow inside, making it unstable, and young builders struggle assembling pieces of the same colour. Reviews called out that building the head is more complex than other parts, and attaching the head is tricky. You're paying $100 for a figure that looks unbalanced, is hard to keep upright, and doesn't have the detail you'd expect for that price. The lack of detail is noticeable. And while the posable features are cool, they don't make up for a figure that feels incomplete and unstable. This set proves that price per piece doesn't tell the whole story when the final build is disappointing.